Ellen DeGeneres was just pretending to be a kind woman.
It's a little strange to actually get an award for being nice and generous. I just think that kindness is something that we should all have.
Ellen DeGeneres was once one of the most beloved TV hosts in the United States, as she seemed to be a nice and positive woman. However, her empire on TV crumbled overnight after being accused by multiple employees of toxic work environments and mistreatment.
Toxic, phony, hypocrite, liar. That's what she is. As a host, she's amazing, but as a boss, she's a different person.
Many people realized that these patterns were always there for everyone to see, in light of many uncomfortable and unpleasant interviews that showed her true colors.
Well, it seems like you're busy with something because you're forgetting to cut your son's hair.
Right. Do you have a problem with that?
No, I don't have a problem.
Who is this host really? What happened over these 2 decades? This is the story of the inevitable downfall of Ellen DeGeneres, from hero to villain. Ellen DeGeneres began her career in the 1980s as a stand-up comedian, gaining recognition for her humor and friendly style. In the 1990s, she became famous for her role in the sitcom Ellen, garnering much attention and controversy at that time because she was openly gay and an advocate for LGBTQ+ rights, addressing this on a famous show back then known as The Oprah Winfrey Show.
I just want to be happy.
And you think you can't have these things with a woman?
Well, society has a pretty big problem with it, you know? I mean, there are a lot of people out there who think people like me are sick.
In 2003, the comedian became globally known for her show The Ellen DeGeneres Show, which had the charm of involving the audience and celebrity guests in interviews with a variety of games, jokes, and musical numbers. Ellen also invited unknown people to give them 15 minutes of fame, including child prodigies, small business owners, among others. The show quickly captured the attention of the public and critics, cultivating a very cheerful, optimistic, and generous personality. But that couldn't be further from the truth.
It's a little strange to actually get an award for being nice and generous, which is what we're all supposed to do with one another. I just think that kindness is something that we should all have.
The show became one of the most successful on American television. Over 19 years, it got 63 Daytime Emmy nominations, and in 2017, it made history by winning the main category of those awards, Outstanding Entertainment Talk Show, surpassing Oprah Winfrey's show, becoming the most awarded talk show at that ceremony. This is how Ellen established herself as one of the most talented and beloved TV hosts. In fact, in 2016, the then President of the United States, Barack Obama, awarded her the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which honors those who have changed the country for the better. But none of that would save her from the terrible scandals that would strike her life in 2017. Ellen humiliated an audience member by hiding security cameras at a stand where free souvenirs from her show were displayed, with the rule that they could only take one. However, a woman didn't follow the rule.
That's so amazing. I mean, any of you could have taken more than one thing, and you didn't. Except for these ladies right here.
Consequently, Ellen couldn't help but mock her in a passive-aggressive way, forcing her to sit in a chair as some kind of punishment.
My sister couldn't come, so that was her souvenir.
You're the kind of person like when you go trick-or-treating and nobody's home, you don't just take the bowl. You go sit in that Ellen jail over there right now.
This was the beginning of multiple controversies that led to the worst outcome during the pandemic, involving mistreatment and set and unfair salaries, which resulted in her reputation as a nice woman falling apart. In 2020, 10 former employees in the Ellen DeGeneres Show accused the comedian of creating a toxic environment on set. BuzzFeed News reported that 10 former anonymous employees claimed that they had suffered discrimination and had been intimidated, experiencing a toxic environment which backed up the allegations of abuse on set, which were disregarded by the producers. Besides, the whole team also claimed to have faced microaggression on Ellen's part, especially when it came to people of color. For years, many people were fired just because they were ill or mourning a loss. The worst part is that when COVID-19 hit us all, the show had to be produced remotely, and 30 employees out of the original team received no notice about what would happen with their jobs and salaries, which kept them on their toes for almost a month. In fact, it was later revealed that the producers had been hiring external companies and non-unionized workers to film remotely. This was just the tip of the iceberg in a case of horrible allegations that will be described later. Despite many people being shocked by this unseen and weird side of Ellen, many online users stated that this was nothing new, and that there were signs of this behavior in hundreds of uncomfortable interviews from years ago. Ellen has always been known for messing with her guests, but on multiple occasions, they were humiliated by harmless jokes.
Well, it seems like you're busy with something because you're forgetting to cut your son's hair. This is
right. Do you have a problem with that?
No, I don't have a problem.
Whatever I will do, I won't please everyone.
Including superstars like Taylor Swift, who had suffered the disregard of the comedian as she felt so humiliated to the point that she asked them to stop.
You were here with your boyfriend Zac Efron last time. How's he doing?
We actually never dated.
Yes, you did.
No,
you didn't date him.
We didn't
No.
date. What are you doing to me? This is me.
Okay, all right.
This makes me feel so bad about myself. Every time I come up here, you put like a different dude up there on the screen. And it just makes me really question like what I stand for as a human being.
Although Taylor never addressed the incident herself, as years went by, she made indirect comments about that interview.
When I was like 23 and people were just like kind of reducing me to like kind of making slideshows of like my dating life and putting people in there that I'd sat next to at a party once and deciding that my songwriting was like a trick rather than a skill.
In 2008, an uncomfortable moment on TV aired, which involved Ellen pushing Mariah Carey to open up about whether she was pregnant or not, and the outcome was just awful.
Let's toast to you not being pregnant. If you're not pregnant, then we should.
Oh my goodness. I can't believe it. Why would we toast to that?
All right, go ahead.
Okay, cheers.
Cheers.
It's too early for me.
Yeah.
I only drink it after 3 p.m.
Yeah. You're pregnant. You're pregnant.
No, I didn't say that. No.
Years later, the singer confessed that this interview had been awful and stated, "I was extremely uncomfortable at that moment, that's all I can say. I wasn't ready to tell anyone because I had already had a previous." The worst part is that months later, Mariah lost her, something that impacted her life forever. However, this was just the surface of her darkest secrets on set, and multiple people and celebrities went on to reveal the sinister nature of Ellen. In March 2020, anonymous stories from former employees of Ellen were published who had been victims of harassment and intimidation on her show. One of them claimed he was fired for creating a GoFundMe to cover medical expenses not covered by his work medical insurance. That same month, comedian Kevin T. Porter posted in social media that Ellen was one of the worst people he had ever met. He then encouraged people online to share the craziest anecdotes they had heard or experienced with the comedian, promising to donate $2 to the Los Angeles Food Bank per story. The tweet received thousands of responses, many of which were quite unsettling. Television writer Benjamin Seaman recounted that working with her had been traumatic and said, "She has a sensitive nose, so everyone has to chew gum from a bowl outside her office before speaking to her, and if she thinks you smell that day, you have to go home to take a shower." He also revealed that every day Ellen would choose a different person to hate, and everyone had to endure her treatment. thousands of users would continue sharing unbelievable stories related to how her own employees couldn't be in the same room as her. Although there was no way to verify if these stories were true, the overwhelming amount of testimonies was indeed strange, gathering around 2,000 responses. However, none of this could be considered the worst allegation. Some of her former employees came forward to expose her in interviews.
Toxic, phony, hypocrite, liar. That's what she is. We were told from the very beginning, don't talk to Ellen, don't do this, you can't, go into her office. It was very nerve-wracking, very stressful. We all walked on eggshells all the time. As a host, she's amazing. As a host. But as a boss and someone who's behind the scenes running the show, she's a different person.
Yelling and insulting remarks were part of the everyday humiliation that the whole team had to witness, regardless of the boss, such as the case of Ed Glavin, executive producer of the show.
We were in our production meetings and she would watch Ed go off on people. She laughed and she said, every production needs their dog.
Meaning
Ed is her dog.
For years, many employees had been victims of misconduct and aggression at the hands of their bosses. Everything in Ellen's presence. For this reason, Warner Media started an investigation, and months later, 3 important producers of the show were fired, something that led to Ellen coming forward to offer public apologies.
I am that person that you see on TV. I am also a lot of other things. Sometimes I get sad, I get mad, I get anxious, I get frustrated, I get impatient, and I am working on all of that. And my intention is to always be the best person I can be. And if I've ever let someone down, if I've ever hurt their feelings, I am so sorry for that.
Shortly after, actor Brad Garrett lashed out at Ellen, saying, "Sorry, but it comes from the top. I know more than one person who was treated horribly by her. It's common knowledge." In 2021, it was announced that her show was going to air its last season on May 2022, after almost 3 decades of airing. In 2024, Ellen started her first project since the end of her show and began a comedy tour, openly making jokes about the incidents involving her former employees, with many people claiming she was playing the victim. It was so painful. This is the second time they kick me out of the entertainment world. In the end, they will kick me out for the 3rd time just because I'm mean, old, and gay. She has set different dates for her tour, and it will be released on Netflix. Ellen DeGeneres was undoubtedly a legend on American TV. However, idolizing celebrities only leads to disappointment and scandals of the sort, something that can be quite detrimental to the victims. What are your thoughts on the allegations against Ellen? Do you think she deserves to make a comeback on TV? Let us know in the comments.